Samson, a man of impossible strength, a warrior chosen from birth. But behind the power was a weakness that would lead to one of the most dramatic downfalls in history. This is the 10-minute story of Samson and Delilah, a tale of strength, love, betrayal, and redemption. Our story begins with Samson's parents, a couple unable to have children. But everything changed when an angel appeared to Samson's mother, declaring she would give birth to a son dedicated to God as a Nazirite. This meant 3 lifelong rules: no wine, no touching anything dead, and never, ever cutting his hair. His uncut hair was the symbol of a sacred vow, and it was tied to the divine strength he would one day wield. As Samson grew, so did his power. Not just ordinary strength, but the kind of strength that made nations tremble. He killed a lion with his bare hands. He took down 30 Philistines completely on his own. And later, he defeated 1,000 men with nothing but the jawbone of a donkey. Samson was unstoppable. But despite his incredible strength, he struggled with a fiery temper and with his desire for women who were not loyal to him or his people. These weaknesses would eventually lead him straight into the trap of his life. Enter Delilah, mysterious, beautiful, and unforgettable. The Philistine rulers, Samson's sworn enemies, approached her with a very tempting offer. Find out the secret behind Samson's strength, and she would be paid a fortune. Delilah agreed. And so, a deadly game began. Night after night, Delilah asked Samson the same question. Tell me, my love, what makes you so strong? But Samson lied again and again. First, he claimed, tie me with fresh ropes. Then, he told her to use new bowstrings. After that, he said, weave my hair into a loom. Each time, Delilah performed the trick and called the Philistines to capture him. And each time, Samson broke free with absolute ease. But Delilah didn't stop. She pressed him emotionally, accusing him of not truly loving her. Slowly but surely, Samson's guard began to fall, and the strongest man alive became vulnerable. Finally, exhausted and completely worn down by her persistence, Samson told her the truth. If my hair is cut, he confessed, my strength will leave me. That night, as Samson slept with his head in Delilah's lap, she called a servant who cut off his 7 braids of hair, the symbol of his sacred vow. When he awoke, Delilah cried out, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson!" He tried to break free as he always had, but this time was different. For the first time in his life, Samson was powerless. The Philistines rushed in, captured him, gouged out his eyes, and threw him into prison. Samson, the man once feared by entire armies, now pushed a heavy, grinding wheel like a common slave. He was blinded, mocked, and utterly broken. But in the darkness of his prison cell, something began to change. His hair began to grow. One day, the Philistines held a massive celebration in their temple, thanking their gods for finally capturing Samson. They brought him out to entertain the massive crowd. Thousands of people watched from the hall and the roof as the blind hero was led into their midst. Samson stood between the temple's 2 main pillars, the very foundation holding up the entire structure. In that quiet moment, he prayed, "God, strengthen me one last time." With a final, desperate burst of power, Samson placed one hand on each pillar and pushed with all his might. The temple crashed down, killing the rulers and thousands of Philistines. In his final act, Samson defeated more of his enemies in death than he had in his entire life. The story of Samson and Delilah teaches us powerful lessons. Even the strongest people have weaknesses. Love can be uplifting, or it can be destructive. Temptation can break even the greatest heroes, but redemption is always possible. Samson's fall wasn't the end of his story. It was the story of a man who turned back to God when he had nothing left. Thanks for watching this deep dive into Samson and Delilah. Like, subscribe, and comment which story you want to see next. And remember, true strength is more than just power. It's character.